I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys. I tried to watch both Fighter Fest and the Great American Bash, NXT, that is, right? Both at the same time. On my TV, I had Dynamite or Fight for the Fallen. On my computer, I had NXT. And literally 30 minutes in, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. So I chose to just watch Fighter Fest today. I'll watch NXT tomorrow and do a review on that tomorrow as well. This is basically your AEW Fyter Fest Part 1 2020 review. Next week is Part 2. Overall, I thought the show was pretty solid. You had a very good TNT Championship match between Cody and Jake Hager, but then again, that is what you expect with every single Cody title defense. They're going to go the extra mile to make Cody look amazing, which again, as a performer, he is. Don't get me the fuck wrong. Jake Hager looked like $1,000,000 today as well. You had the main event of the best friends of Trent and Chuck Taylor, who were brought in by Trent's mom. Yeah, Trent's mom brought both guys into the venue versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page for the AEW tag titles. Yeah, Penelope Ford attempting to take the title off of Hikaru Shida. And you had a very good tag team opener between Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus versus MJF and Wardlow. But overall, guys, give me your thoughts in the comment threads. What did you watch today? Did you watch Dynamite? Did you watch NXT? Or are you gonna watch probably the other way around tomorrow? I don't fucking know. Let me know. Yeah, this is weird. My hair is short. I'm accustomed to having my long hair still. Technically, it's kind of long still, but whatever. Anyway, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Give the video a big ol' thumbs up. Why the fuck would you not? Just saying. Share the video through your entire social media platforms, what have you. I noticed today that they announced during the show that next week we're supposed to get Jon Moxley versus Brian Cage for the AEW World Title. But as you guys know, Jon Moxley apparently is in quarantine because his wife tested positive for COVID-19. She's doing better. But AEW taking precaution, and I commend them for that. I commend AEW for taking precaution and handling the situation professionally. So instead, what's going to happen is at Fight for the Fall, which I believe is July 15th. If I'm wrong on the date, let me know again in the comment threads, what have you. But it's going to be Brian Cage versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title. So they rescheduled the main event for a later date, which again I think is great, awesome. The show kicked off. By the way, with a tag team match, like I mentioned, between Luchasaurus and the Jungle Boy, who were accompanied by Marco Stunt, versus MJF and Wardlow. As you remember, last week they had that lumberjack match, Wardlow and Luchasaurus. And here we are now with a tag team match. Overall, I thought honestly it was a good way to kick off the show. Good tag team match here. All four guys work good together. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate the chemistry. That being said, if I can just nitpick one thing, and again, we all know how amazing Luchasaurus is, what have you. Even Wardlow to an extent. Even though Wardlow really hasn't wrestled that much in AEW, like he had that cage match, right, with Cody a couple of months ago in Atlanta on television, here and there matches. But again, I really haven't seen much of the guy. And again, he's someone that you can just tell is going to be a contender one day down the road. But that being said, even with Luchasaurus too, but my big thing is I'm used to seeing the big guys not go off their feet. And that's just my thing. Again, there's a moment in the match where Wardlow does like a swanton bomb. And we've seen sometimes Luchasaurus doing these like high risk moves, which again, visually, it's fine, awesome, what have you. But at the same time, it's like, nah, why are you doing this? It's like Kane trying to do a 450 splash. Like you wouldn't expect someone like Kane do a 450 splash. I'm just saying. Anyway, the match ends. Oh, but there's a moment in the match. I'm sorry. It's a moment in the match where Wardlow lifts up Marco Stunt and he throws him into Jungle Boy. And they're on the platform too. They're on the platform and just throws him and shit. Fucking hilarious. But that's besides the point. There was a miscommunication near the end where MJF did have the ring on, the AEW Dynamite ring, and he was gonna punch Luchasaurus, and instead he almost hits Wardlow. But I think after that, it's like a miscommunication. He gets bumped and he punches Wardlow, yells at him, "You can't do anything right." So they're teasing this potential breakup, if you will, the split of MJF and Wardlow down the road. Who the fuck knows? But this leads to Jungle Boy pinning Wardlow for the 1-2-3. So there was that. Again, a good way to kick off the show. Good tag team match. Another thing that I noticed, and before I continue with this review, a lot of people on social media were saying, oh, people are giving WWE shit for social distancing and not wearing their mask. As you notice on Raw, they were wearing masks. Good majority of them were wearing masks. But you watch AEW, there were no masks being worn. There was no social distancing. Granted, if you watch, there's no plexiglass like WWE, but there's no social distancing. Granted, yes, I've said this before and I'll say it again. AEW has handled this whole pandemic awesome. Very professional. They give testing to all their talents, what have you. But technically, when you think about it, right? Daily's Place is an outdoor arena, outdoor venue, if you will. Where technically, when you're outside, you don't have to wear a mask. Technically, outside, no mask is technically required, unless it's told, what have you. But as far as I'm concerned, granted, it's Florida, laws can be different. But here in Jersey, if you're outside, yeah, have a mask in your pocket, what have you. But once you go inside of a building, yes, put the mask on. But there's that. Social distancing also is like a big issue. But again, they're in an outdoor venue, so they can get away with it, if you will. So, they're being slick with it. Fine. So there was that. We then go on to Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford. I'll just say this, honestly. Hikaru Shida made Penelope Ford look like $1 million. This match, honestly, went about 12 minutes. I get it, it's TV, every title's on the line, but did this match really need to go 12 minutes long? No. They had this whole thing where Penelope came out with Kip Sabian, and they had, I guess, referee Aubrey Edwards told Kip that he had to go to the back, right? He's banned from ringside. Hikaru came out with a kendo stick, by the way. So he takes away the kendo stick that Hikaru Shida brought into the ring to even things out. We get a one-on-one match, and it looked like that Hikaru Shida was going to win the match right away. That's what it looked like. But no. Instead, they went back and forth. They really try to make this like a Joshi style of a match. I get it. However, with someone like Penelope Ford, it doesn't really come out like, oh my god. Granted, I'm not saying that Penelope Ford is a bad talent, because she's not. She actually looked good here in this match. Like I said before, Hikaru Shida made Penelope Ford look like $1 million. Like she belonged in the ring with her. Like technically on paper, let's be real about it. Like put your hand on your heart. On paper, Penelope Ford does not even deserve to be in the same ring with someone like Hikaru Shida, right? But she shined here. She kicked out of Hikaru's finishers multiple times. Got some near falls. Hell, there's even moments where Penelope Ford got some major near falls as well. But it was all said and done. Hikaru Shida did pick up the win with a knee to the head, to the face, if you will. And she retained her title. So there was that. And still AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida. We did get a vignette of Darby Allin. Apparently he's still not clear to compete, but he's doing all these skateboard stunts, what have you, which is cool. Fine. I'm fine with that. There was also a brawl in the crowd between Joey Janela and Lance Archer. Next week they're gonna go at it. They had some type of a brawl, but they didn't really go to blows technically. It's basically them being separated. Janela struggled to take his shirt off, which was funny as it was. But you see Jake Roberts laughing, like he's laughing at the situation. Like the idea that Joey Janela is trying to pick a fight with Lance Archer, right? But that's next week, so there's that. I guess you want to hype up that match. So there you go with that. Awesome. From there, we get Cody versus Jake Hager for the AEW TNT Championship. I'm surprised this didn't close the show, but hey, it is what it is. Jake Hager came out with his wife. Cody came out with Arn Anderson, like always, every single fucking week. And again, I thought honestly, this was a very good match. The thing about it, like they're gonna put this whole focal point, this whole focus on the TNT Championship. It has to fucking deliver, right? And again, Cody, with everyone that he's put the belt on the line with, right? With Jungle Boy, Mark Quinn, Ricky Starks, Jake Hager, right? Every single match has been top notch. That's the thing about Cody. Because it's Cody, we are going to make him feel like a big deal. And you have to. Because it's the TNT Championship, right? That belt is a big significance to AEW and to TNT, right? The Turner Network and all that shit, right? Again, a very good back and forth match. There's a moment in the match where Jake Hager does like a German suplex or something like that, and Cody lands kind of sloppy. I literally thought that, holy shit, this guy probably broke his neck. And you see Cody with the look on his face like, bruh, really? Really, bruh? But again, Cody fought through it. There's a moment too where that I thought was pretty badass. Cody gets on the top rope, and he, again, his balance, right? And does a then he jumps off the top rope. I almost said moonsault, I don't know why. And he springboard, let me correct myself. He springboard off the top rope and lands a cutter on Hager for a near fall. There's a moment also at the outside where Jake Hager puts his hands on Arn Anderson. And Cody, to defend himself, to defend Arn Anderson, who's his coach, goes to his aid, but then gets German suplex on the outside. There's a moment where Jake Hager is locking the ankle lock. Cody countered. His wife, that being Jake Hager's wife, gets involved, slaps Cody. Then out came Dustin Rhodes, and he punches Jake Hager. Cody tried to go for the crossroads for a counter. This leads to Jake Hager locking in this triangle choke, like this choke, if you will, right? And he's on his back, and Cody's on top of him, and his shoulders are down. So the referee does a pinfall, 1, 2, 3, and Hager thought he won. He thought he won the match because in his eyes, in his mind, right? Oh, Cody passed out, but the referee counted 3. It's funny because they're playing Cody's music, right? They're playing his music, and Hager's celebrating like he just fucking won the title, right? Not realizing that they're playing the fucking music, right? They announced, and Jake Hager's in disbelief. What the fuck happened? He punches the referee. All the officials come out, and they're like, oh, you just can't do that. This is likely to continue, this program, which honestly I'm fine with, if you will. But at the same time, the title being defended every single week. So we'll see what happens next week. If he even defends the title, that being Cody, I doubt it. But I do think though that next week there'll be some more of a follow-up to this feud of Cody and Jake Hager. So there's that. From there, we go to Private Party versus the Inner Circles of Santana and Ortiz of Proud and Powerful. Yeah, Matt Hardy in the corner, if you will, of Private Party. So I guess he's not like a manager or a mentor to the young tag team. Apparently, they're ranked number 5 in the tag team ranking. The match overall was pretty solid. Again, these guys, Proud and Powerful and Private Party have had numerous matches before. Whether it be on the independent scene, especially House of Glory. So this was like a House of Glory style of a match. Overall, again, it was an okay match. Nothing to go crazy about, if you will. Good moments here and there. I think it was Isaiah Cassidy who did like a dive to the outside on both Santana and Ortiz and got like massive air, right? I'm surprised he didn't scream because he does scream a lot, which for a lot of people is not their cup of tea, which is fine as well. But with all said and done, right? You had Jericho also on commentary. Jericho was also on commentary for the whole night, by the way, which I thought was very cool. They came up with these random hashtags and shit. You had Orange Cassidy apparently also just sitting there at ringside, my bad, next to the commentary table, right, where Jericho's doing commentary and shit. And eventually this whole match ends with they hit the gin and juice on Santana for the 1-2-3. So Private Party get a win under the tutelage, if you will, of Matt Hardy. And you see Jericho just screaming, going off. He throws water at Orange Cassidy. And it's funny because you have all the people coming and trying to break this up. And Jericho's all mad and angry, you know, next week, I'm gonna get you, Cassidy, and this and that. But Orange Cassidy, like, no fucks are given. Almost like you would think he would try to retaliate back, like, yo, someone threw water at you. Like, come on. Those are a fighting move back in the day when I was a kid. And I'm saying, if someone threw a water bottle or a fucking piece of paper at me, that's a fighting move. Holy shit. What the fuck, bro? What's good with you? You feel me? But there's that. And that, again, was funny. Again, you got to hype up that match too, which should be very interesting to see. At the same time, though, I do feel like with someone like Orange Cassidy and Jericho, this really does need a crowd. And I know that they're bringing in people too. There's people that were, I guess, quote unquote, crowd as well, that were in the back of the audience, if you will. So there's that. We find out that, again, we were supposed to get next week Jon Moxley and Brian Cage for the AEW World Title. That's not happening now. Not happening next week. As you all know, Jon Moxley's in quarantine. He's taking precautions to let people know that he was in contact with someone that had COVID-19, that being his wife, Renee Young, likely, right? So he's quarantined right now. And again, they took the right protocol. They took the right measures. Instead, we're getting the match at Fight for the Fallen, which will be likely 2 weeks from now, I believe, on July 15th. And if I'm wrong on that, let me know. Which is, then we get Brian Cage and Taz come out. Taz cuts his promo. Talks about how Moxley was tested twice and came out negative. And if he comes to Dynamite or to Fyter Fest next week, he had to take another test. And again, in AEW, they don't run a sloppy operation. In a way, he was taking a jab at WWE because, again, WWE, for all we know, they were not giving their talent a COVID test. A lot of the talent that were in the building as the quote-unquote fans, if you will, were not wearing masks. So there was that, right? Take a jab. Oh, people on Twitter went crazy. Oh, look at Taz and that, right? Pretty radical, pretty badass, which is fine. It's cool, right? You want to hype up the match, right, even more now. And there was that. And you see Brian Cage is like, with a smile on his face, like, yeah, that's a shoot. Like, he was doing this too. So there's that. I look forward to the match. Likely Moxley will win, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. We will see. Then we get the main event. We get Kenny Omega and Adam Page versus best friends of Trent and Chuck Taylor. Trent's mom, bruh, the MVP. So Trent and Chuck come out in a minivan that was driven by Trent's mom. That's like it brings me back to memories back in the day. Like, hey, your mom take you to school in the van. You're ready to go to school, and your mom's like, hey, give me a kiss and shit, right? And it's funny because Trent has this like badass look on his face, but his mom wants to kiss, right? Like any mom would want a kiss from their son or their daughter, right? Very funny, very cool, if you will. On the indie, this shit would have been a pop, if you will. Imagine if there was a crowd, and Trent's mom would have dropped them all. Again, would have been a big pop, but it is what it is. Right? The match, for what it was worth, it was a very good back and forth match. You had also FTR watching from the side, drinking beer, what have you. But again, a very good back and forth match. A lot of good near falls here. There's moments where the best friends looked like they had the match won. They hit the ground zero for a near fall. But it was all said and done. Hangman Page literally got the win for his team. He went for a dead eye and got a near fall, and then hit the Buckshot Lariat and got the 1-2-3. I think he pinned Trent. It's funny too, 'cause think about it, right? If you're Trent, again, your mom is watching you, and then you take the pinfall loss in front of your mom, which is funny, but it is what it is. So there's that. Oh my God, I almost had a fucking brain fart there. Kenny Omega and Adam Page retain the titles. After that, FTR come out and they want to hand beer to obviously Hangman Page and Kenny Omega. And of course, Hangman Page will take the beer. Of course he will. Why the fuck would he not? And Kenny's looking at them like, what the hell's going on? He has beer in his hand, and instead, he's gonna take a sip, but he doesn't really. And he pours the beer to the floor. FTR is mad about what the fuck, what was wrong. I get it. He doesn't drink. He's straight edge, right? And we're about to get a brawl. And then the Young Bucks come out to break all of this up again. And next week is going to be the Young Bucks teaming with FTR versus the Lucha Brothers and the Blade and the Butcher. Kind of weird, but hey, it is what it is. I think what's going to happen, honestly, down the road is, and again, people are dying to see FTR versus the Young Bucks. I get that. I said this on Twitter a while ago. I'm going to say it again. You wait. You wait until All Out. That's when you make the match. You milk this shit for as long as you can. I say what you do is, hey, you give FTR a future tag team title match against Kenny Omega and Adam Page at Fight for the Fallen. Why the fuck not, right? And you have them win. And this notion that, hey, the Young Bucks are expecting a tag team title match from FTR, but FTR doesn't give it to them. They don't give it to them at all, right? And the Bucks have to go through all these hurdles, even though they're EVPs, when you think about it too. And all this leads to All Out, where they have the match for the titles, and the Young Bucks finally get the belts. But we'll see what happens. Also next week, because Private Party did pick up the win over Proud and Powerful of the Inner Circle. Next week is going to be Adam Page and Kenny Omega versus Private Party for the AEW tag titles, even though Private Party is ranked number 5, but it is what it is. Overall, again, I thought Fyter Fest was a very solid show for what it was worth. Does this show beat part 1 of the Great American Bash? I don't know, because I have not watched that show yet. I will likely watch that tomorrow or later on tonight and then review that tomorrow. So again, guys, if you're not subbed to the channel, hit the subscribe button right now. Why the fuck would you not? All right. Follow me on Twitter at HeelSteven. With that being said, guys, thank you all for watching. Hate, comment, and subscribe. I'm Steve. It is wrestling and whatever. Peace out, dorks.